Your conscious experience is nothing more than an invented future, a prediction based on the information your brain received a fraction of a second ago.
Hey everybody, today Dad's reacting to why your brain blinds you for 2 hours every day.
The world you see is not real. You're not living in this very moment that you're experiencing, and nothing is like it seems. It turns out your brain constructs your reality as you're experiencing it. It edits your memories as they happen. It lives in totally different time spheres and tells you a story about the world that feels real.
And that was the dress. If you remember a couple years back, there was the, what do you see when you look at this dress? Is it blue or is it gold? And half the world saw it one way and half the world saw it a different way. And it was a wake-up call to everybody that your perception is something that your mind creates for you. It could be markedly different than the perception of reality that somebody else's mind creates for them.
World that feels real. What's going on and who's really in control of your life? The gap between reality and you. Vision is maybe our main source of information about the world, but in reality we don't really see that much. Only a thumbnail-sized area of your visual field is in high resolution, while the rest is out of focus. If it doesn't feel like this, that's because it's made up by your brain, using a pretty neat trick. Each second your eyes make 3 to 4 sudden jerky movements, saccades of 50 milliseconds, focusing from one point to another, scanning your environment to get different sharp images that your brain then edits together. During a saccade, your brain shuts down your vision so you don't see a wild motion blur. This means that each day for around 2 hours, you're completely blind. If you could actually see what your eyes see.
So I was wondering where this I'm going to be blind. I thought maybe it was going to be when I was sleeping, but it sounds like so far it's that our eye is skipping around every time it's watching something, and that skipping allows it to take sort of photos of what's out there in our field of view. The brain is able to then paint a picture inside of your mind of all those photos put together. The part where you're blinded is your brain saying, hey, every time we make a move to take the next picture, you're not actually able to see that. We're going to just construct what that looks like for you, but you don't get to see it. It's like the motion blur sort of effect in Adobe Premiere.
Like this. Brrr, brrr. Instead, your brain fills this time with its best guesses of what happened during the blackness. But it does way more. It turns out that you're not really experiencing time correctly. What's really happening when you're stirring milk into a cup of coffee? As the spoon hits the ceramic, light reflects off it and hits your eyes after 1.3 nanoseconds. The ceramic vibrates and creates a shockwave of air molecules that travels to your ear in 1.2 milliseconds. Heat is picked up by fibers in your fingers that send a signal to your brain in 50 milliseconds. 3 very different inputs, all processed in your brain at different times. You don't experience them separately, but as one smooth, simultaneous and connected moment. Your brain takes a moment to process and then invents a reality, a present moment that's not real. What you feel is now is in fact a selectively edited version of the past. You really only consciously experience the world 0.3 to 0.5 seconds after things happened. Except this is also not really true, because your brain is editing time and space way more than that, and it makes decisions completely out of your conscious control. You're living in the past. No. Future. No. A made-up future. Your present, what you experience right now, is kind of the future. Imagine for a second that you're a table tennis pro. In pro table tennis, balls whoosh around at 25 meters per second, which is pretty fast, so let's slow down time. Light passes from the ball to your eye in nanoseconds, is converted into electrical impulses that reach your brain to be processed after 100 milliseconds. Meanwhile, the ball travels 2.5 meters through the air, the length of the table. If your brain showed you the past, where the ball was 100 milliseconds ago, it would hit you before you could react. So instead, your brain takes its location, speed and direction and calculates where the ball should be in the future by the time the information reaches you, and then it creates a fictional version of it. This is what you see in your fake present, a fake ball that's somewhere else. But you don't need to just see the ball, you want to smash it back hard. If you acted now and started swinging your arm, you'd miss by a mile. Things are just too fast. So before the ball even touches your opponent's bat, your brain starts predicting where it will likely be in space after they hit, based on the other player's posture and your table tennis experience. But as it can't be sure if it will be correct,
Now, I play a lot of pickleball, so this is very relatable to me. That part about your brain being able to predict the future, I feel like that is so spot on. Oh, someone slams it at you, somehow you return it. You're not even sure how you returned it. And that's your brain reflexively taking over.
It prepares multiple different responses. Maybe the ball will be here, or even here. To be ready for all of these scenarios, your brain sends pre-programmed orders to the muscles you need to jump left, right, or up, telling them to be ready for any of them at a moment's notice. For a short moment, multiple ghost versions of you exist, all equally real inside your brain. And then, as your opponent is about to lay into the swing, your brain decides on a single future that it thinks is most likely. All but one of the ghosts are deleted. You only ever experience the ghosts that won, never the potential ones. The order to the muscles to act out the winning movement is triggered even before.
I think you actually do get to experience some of the ones that lost. I think there's sometimes just moments of indecision that every athlete can probably call. And those are these moments where your brain just couldn't predict it quite well enough. So the two possibilities were available, were so close in likelihood of occurring that sometimes you get stuck in the middle and then you just don't make a good reaction or a good response.
The ball is hit back to you. You are totally oblivious to this. By the time you consciously see the ball coming at you and decide to hit it in a particular way, your body has already hit it back. In reality, your brain already made all the decisions. Your conscious experience is nothing more than an invented future, a prediction based on the information your brain received a fraction of a second ago. This is not just true for extreme sports like table tennis, but also for walking. Walking.
I was taking a hike the other day and I was just remarking, it's amazing. You can put your brain on total autopilot out there in the woods, and there's roots and there's rocks and there's all these obstacles and you're going downhills and uphills, and somehow your brain can just navigate it all. It can predict where is the best spot for me to put my foot next. If you could scan down the road far, you're kind of help create those possible scenarios. Oh, I know there's a curve coming up, or I see that there's a big obstacle.
What if something truly catastrophic happens? There's a banana peel and you step on it and slip. How did it get here? Listen, don't worry about it. It turns out your brain is ready for this. So far, we spoke of your brain making decisions for you, but this is not really true. You don't have a central control room where the world comes together. In reality, different parts of your body are aware of different things at different times. Your spinal cord usually knows stuff before your brain. And even within your brain, different regions process the same event at different speeds and make independent decisions. As your foot catches the peel, the gyroscope inside your ears notices a sudden change of your position in space. It submits this information to your brainstem and spinal cord, the things must happen quickly section of your recovery. Aware of different things at different times. Your spinal cord usually knows stuff before your brain. And even within your brain, different regions process the same event at different speeds and make independent decisions. As your foot catches the peel, the gyroscope inside your ears notices a sudden change of your position in space. It submits this information to your brainstem and spinal cord. The things must...
That gyroscope is also known as your vestibular system. Fluid up inside your brain, and as that fluid moves in response to, say, your head dipping or your whole body swaying, or moves against hairs that are inside of these tubes that the fluid exists in, the movement of those hairs then sends signals to the brain saying we're at maybe some sort of weird angle, and the body can then sense that, like, oh, we're falling.
Must happen quickly section of your body. They immediately trigger emergency recovery patterns and send orders to different muscle groups. Within 200 milliseconds, pre-programmed sequences activate to catch your fall. Your arms shoot out, your other leg stiffens to support your weight, your core muscles contract to stabilize you. 100 milliseconds later...
And it's true, I mean, you really don't have to think about falling, and you don't have to think about walking in the woods either, or walking. Or if you're a baseball player, you don't have to think much about swinging a baseball bat, and that's what's called muscle memory. So you can basically train your brain and your muscles and your skeleton and all the different organ systems that are involved in maintaining those to work together to operate as one. It's analogous to writing, say, a function or a method in computer science, where instead of having to tell the hardware that's running the software every single step of what needs to be done, you could just say, hey, run this function, run this method. We're doing the fall problem. Hands out, stiffen the leg, arch the back, blast of adrenaline, whatever it is to get you through that obstacle. The body probably learns how to deal with the fall response at a very, very young age, probably around when a baby is starting to walk. That's when all those skills are putting your hands out. You carry that skill to the rest of your life and you never have to think about it.
When you become aware that you're tripping, your body is already recovering. You are only just now catching up. Okay, so we've learned that your brain is constantly predicting reality around you, makes decisions about the best way to act, and then shows you an edited version, which totally makes sense. Would you really want to be in charge of all that? But your brain is not just predicting the external world. Right now, it's predicting a way more complex thing: you. Are you just a prediction of your brain? Why do you feel about the world the way you do? Your sense of hunger, your energy level, and especially your emotions are not just objective reactions to what state you're in, but predictions. Your brain's prediction of what you'll need soon or need to be ready for. You're probably used to getting food or going to bed roughly around the same time, and as the time approaches, your brain releases hormones to prepare you. A self-fulfilling prophecy. You get hungry or tired because your brain assumes this is the time when this is needed. This is the most striking thing about your emotions. They aren't just reactions to the outside world, they're predictions. When you go to a party, your brain isn't waiting to see how you feel once you get there based on how the party actually is. It analyzes your experiences of past parties and who it expects to be there, maybe close friends you feel safe around, maybe people you don't know who are a less socially secure bet. Maybe your brain remembers a party where you felt anxious and that experience stuck. This can be pretty annoying. If your brain predicts anxiousness, it adjusts your heart rate, hormone levels, and muscle tensions before you even enter the room. It prepares your body for anxiety, making you actually feel anxious, which then confirms the brain's prediction and gets saved for future reference. Does this make you feel like you're just along for the ride, forced to experience whatever predictions your brain feeds you? Thankfully, it's not quite like that. Your conscious self is obviously not the decider of most things as you go through your day. But that is not what it's good at anyway. Your brain and all of these different organ systems decide a lot of things, but they're more like butlers taking care of all the busy work. You may not be in the driver's seat, but you are the passenger that decides where to go. What your conscious self is good at is long-term planning and abstract thinking. It's a storyteller that tells the story of your life to your brain and to yourself, wherever the edges of these overlapping entities melt into each other. You are able to see the big picture that your internal.
We're sort of slaves to our brains. We're these biological creatures, and our brain predicts the future, plans everything out for us, and we're really not that much in control of what we're experiencing. Matter of fact, the brain actually lies to us and creates a false sense of reality that's not even there. The creator is tied in the fact that there is something called your consciousness, that you do have some self-autonomy over what happens to you in life. And so far he brings up the idea of planning. You can plan where you're going to spend your time.
A prediction machine could never begin to grasp. You are the part of you that can edit and write new predictions into the system. Sometimes you and your brain disagree on what's correct, but in the end, you are the person in power who tells the story about who you are in this world. A story so convincing that you experience it as undeniable reality. And as a happy accident, your conscious self is great at being happy about ice cream, fascinated by internet videos, and thinking deeply about Pokemon types.
That's a very cute video. I like how they sort of made it all fluffy and happy at the end, but the beginning was pretty deep and sort of scary. This thought that you are just a passenger in this biological organism, and a lot of what you're experiencing is beyond your control, including that your brain is manipulating you into believing that the reality you see around you is real, but it's a fake reality. There's lots of pieces of information missing, and the brain is slapping it all together, so it looks like it's a giant continuous field of view that we're seeing. So I enjoyed it a great deal, and I look forward to seeing you next time.